हमारे एक बहुत स्पेशल डिश बनती है, हम कमल की जड़ें खाते हैं, हम उसको नदरू कहते हैं। सर, नेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस को पसंद है, आपके लीडर्स को आपको पसंद है?
I don't know about leaders. As Kashmiri, whatever you like, whatever you love, I love it. In parliamentary debate, they took offense to my remark that Shyama Prasad Mukherjee was a signatory to it. Don't sell it in his name. Don't tell people it was his dream.
Here the minister
Had it been his dream, why didn't he oppose it? Had it been his dream, why did not he cast his vote against it? And he was part of the cabinet.
So, do you think the secular democratic Indian experiment has failed?
It is not a success.
Do you think Maharaja Hari Singh would be a sad man today?
Of course.
These are the exact words. I am quoting your words. You said, "ये हिंदुस्तान की तारीख में स्याह तरीन दिन है आज। 1.25 crore लोगों का भरोसा आपने है।
Jammu and Kashmir entered the union under parliament or under an agreement. Others did not enter under an agreement."
Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Walaikum salam.
Thank you so much for speaking to us. Sir, you have been a former adjudicator of the law. Now you are into mainstream politics, where it is you are now into making of the laws. Previously, you were into adjudicating of the laws. How has the experience been, sir?
See, it is in a way part of the same process. As a judge, you have your own constraints because you have to wait for someone who is aggrieved. You know, he has to reach to you and he must first bear the litigation costs and then be able to engage a lawyer and come to you with a grievance. And here in politics, we don't have those constraints. Here you can espouse a cause without having any litigation costs. I mean, right now, I am accessible to people, see a larger number of people. End game, what is end game? End game is public service, serving people. See, trying to get their grievances addressed. See, do something for a change in their lifestyle, a change in the amenities, a change in whatever privilege can be made available. See, as a judge, you adjudicate, but you wait all the way. All the whole day you wait for someone to come to you with a complaint, with a grievance. Here, you are accessible to people and you just... So, in a way, same. There you interpret law. Here, as you rightly put, while enacting law, that helps you to tell the House that, look here, you are not supreme. This is the constitution that is supreme. That's what I have tried to do. You cannot say, because law minister would say that, hey, we enact the law. If somebody is aggrieved with the law, no problem, let him go to the court. And because we are supreme. And I try to dispel that, I say that, no, you are not supreme. See, it is the constitution that is supreme.
True. It is the constitution which is supreme, and it must be the constitution. It has to remain that way if the secular democratic fabric has to survive. So, India, as we see it, as India is an experiment, the first of its kind, a secular democratic experiment, where everyone, be it a Jew, a Parsi, a Kashmiri, a Bihari, a Hindu, a Muslim, a Christian, anyone could live in harmony. So, we are as opposed to Pakistan, which is an Islamic republic, we are a secular state, and our constitution mandated that. So, do you think the secular democratic Indian experiment has failed?
No, it is not a success. See, when our framers, they decided to have a state, a secular, as you rightly put, a secular state, a republic, a democratic republic, the head of the state would be elected, and an elected government, and a constitutional democracy. That is, government is accountable to the people through parliament. It was a conscious decision that this should how we want to have this, and see, we're a union of states. But I can't say it failed, but people have not allowed it to be a success.
Why I was asking this is because in the backdrop of the recent CA protest that we saw, the Ghar Wapsis that is taking place all over India, the persecution of other communities that is taking place all over the country. So in that backdrop, since you have been into judiciary, the little understanding that I have, and Supreme Court has made it widely clear that the secular word was not imbibed, but there was no doubt that the makers of the constitution, the makers of India wanted it to be secular.
Sure, because that was the baseline. Why did they resist? If they had see, why did they oppose the counter view? They said no. Ours would be a secular state. No, did not say in so many words, but and later it was incorporated.
Sure.
But it was from the day one, because that was the original, the dream that once we were in the middle of freedom struggle, and there would be deliberations on how to shape up, what kind of a state would emerge, would we just conceive, किसकी कल्पना हम करें, कैसा एक मुल्क बनाए. So it was all the same. It was everywhere made see clear more than once. नहीं हमारा जो मुल्क होगा, this is going to be a secular state, though they incorporated, but that doesn't make any difference because that was the scheme of things.
But as the things are turning up, we see persecution of other communities, which is taking place all over India. The Ghar Wapsi narrative that is being pushed. Doesn't that run counter to the secular credentials?
Of course, that is what we say. That is people see people who are in conflict with whatever is trying to build up. See, that is the reason. Because you may say that yes, we have we had a dream to make a secular state, and then we just translated it into real terms when we just introduced the word secular. But the dream is to be realized. Everything these days, everything is being done not to realize that or to defeat that dream. So it doesn't work on ground. Now we have a lot of illustrations. You can multiply illustrations where in essence, in practice, or constitution in action, we don't see that. We don't see that. We are not ready to that. People who are at the helm of it are not ready to that.
So I remember these are the exact words. I'm quoting your words. You said, "ये हिंदुस्तान की तारीख में स्याह तरीन दिन है आज." 1,25,00,000 लोगों का भरोसा आपने खोया when you stood up in opposing the removal of the Article 370. So you have been a judge who pronounced the judgment that Article 370 is irrevocable. Now, please tell us, is the removal of Article 370 constitutional or unconstitutional?
See, first I will tell you that, why did I say that? See, unlike other states of the Union, Jammu and Kashmir entered the Union under a covenant or under an agreement. Others did not enter under an agreement. Union was already there. It came into being on 15th August, 1947. And when on 15th August 1947, ours was an independent country in all intents and purposes, because we are free from sovereign these obligations, treaty obligations, and after these two states came into existence, we had to decide about it. So we entered Union under covenant. There were certain conditions. Accepted. I mean, it was free from any coercion. Accepted by the Union at the time of our entry, and that entry was made conditional by the central government itself, that no, this entry is provision, because we have some ideals, we have some principles. We don't want to accept this from a person who does not enjoy popular support. But all the same, because of emergency, we would like to accept it, but we just make a caveat. We want to make it clear that no, look here, we are going to go to people. But till we go to the people, these are the conditions. And those conditions, whatever were put in that covenant, were mirrored in Article 370. What is Article 370? Except the conditions subject to which accession was made. And then 1952, why did I say betrayal? 1952 agreement, we try to just, dilate on it, make it more broad-based, because we didn't see referendum, there was not in sight. One after other legislative officers administrators were appointed, but without any agreement. So in the meantime, we had to work out an arrangement. So we came out with 1952. And then from 1958, till 1975, we insist on that the promise the promise should be fulfilled. In 1975, we entered in one more agreement. That was Kashmir Accord. That reiterated that yes, your relations with us will be governed by 370. So it was in that background, against that backdrop, I said that this is the darkest day in the history of our relations, and it is a betrayal, and you have lost the faith of the confidence because you have made this promise. And then, see, having said that, when we go to abrogation of 370, it's all unconstitutional. Unconstitutional is it large because 370 was a self-contained code. It told us that how it can be modified, amended, or changed. It gave a mechanism, and it was free from amendment clause of the Constitution. Constitution, we have a clause 367. We have a clause that tells us that how this Constitution can be amended. But 370 was not subject to it. It was not withstanding any other provision of the Constitution. You have to appreciate that. That is very important. So that was not followed. The mechanism that was laid down in 370 itself was not followed while abrogating 370, and they could not.
Its words were said, but its essence wasn't said.
No, I mean, see, 370 says 370 is I told you it's a self-contained code. It deals with all its dimensions. It says that, look here, if you have to modify it, this is the procedure you have to adopt. If you have to, get rid of it, then it should go to the Constituent Assembly. And Constituent Assembly had taken a decision in 1957 when it did not recommend its abrogation. Constituent Assembly of the state, which was not kind of something foreign or alien to it. It was part of the scheme because we find mention of Constituent Assembly in 370 itself. 370 makes mention of Constituent Assembly. So Constitution is of the state, and when we convened the Constitution Assembly and when we made our Constitution, we were congratulated right and left from all the chief ministers, from the President of India. Congratulations, we have today enacted a Constitution. All those messages are here, available with us. So you did not follow the procedure that was laid down in the Constitution itself. So that is why I say that it was unconstitutional. Second, I observed in my judgment, it was a divisional judgment, that it is permanent for the reasons there in the judgment. It was not this, and the state did not go in appeal.
Okay.
And second is, even if you question that part, I do not know, but still it was in State Bank of India case. Supreme Court said that it has over the time assumed a permanent character.
But then again, we know the
2017. Yeah. So the 370 had assumed a permanent position, assuming that it would be changed, but we have to follow a procedure constitution that was not followed. That is why we are before Supreme Court, and we say that it is not.
According to you, the governor wasn't the competent authority to be asked advice from, because there wasn't this.
No, you cannot. No. See, you miss the point. 370 in the last class 3 says that this cannot be modified or amended or revoked except on recommendation of in consultation with the Constituent Assembly of the state. Constituent Assembly is not in place. Either you have to convene a Constituent Assembly afresh.
True.
And that Constituent Assembly will recommend that yes, 370 should be revoked.
True.
Otherwise, we have to presume that Constituent Assembly, when it closed its proceedings, it had an option to recommend that, look here, now we have laid down the relations between the state and the union. We don't need any more 370. So this should be abrogated. It had an option. It did not. That means Constituent Assembly, they gave a decision. Its verdict was no, we need 370 and we don't recommend its abrogation. So even governor or no governor is no problem. But 370, because of its own language, cannot be abrogated unless there is a Constituent Assembly. The option which you use, convene a Constituent Assembly. And that Constituent Assembly will recommend that no, we don't want 370 because that is the letter of the law.
So as I sense from your talk, you still have faith that it will be declared unconstitutional.
Well, that's why we went to Supreme Court. We went to Supreme Court with this faith that Supreme Court will appreciate our argument and tell them that, and tell government that you could not, under cover of an interpretation clause. See, there are a few clauses in the constitution. One clause is that interpretation clause that helps us to interpret.
The Supreme Court is the final interpreter in that.
I mean the constitution. You cannot use the interpretation clause to introduce a new law. That cannot be. You may interpret the already existing law. For example, you cannot say what they did. They said the legislative assembly will be deemed to include Constituent Assembly, and the powers of Legislative Assembly are with the Parliament. So we give consent and Parliament give the consent.
So in a way, you are saying that the legislature cannot be the interpreter. It is the courts which are the interpreters of the law.
So, sir, my point is that what did they say in the constitutional order? They say that we interpret Constituent Assembly in 373 to include the legislators.
Okay.
That means you are introducing a new concept. It is not interpretation. It is new law, and that is the main plank of our piece.
In a way, this was the legislative side of the legal side of it. In a way, we also saw a comedy of errors in the parliament that day. Your own allies, the former allies, the BSP, the SP, the Congress, most of these parties did not follow their party whip. Some of the people in these parties went against their party whip and voted against. Now, my question is, it has been, and National Conference has been, it is indeed one of the oldest parties of Jammu and Kashmir. You champion that you are the true representatives of the people of Jammu and Kashmir. In the parliament, you have been visiting Delhi since times immemorial. Were we not successful enough to mobilize support in favor of our...
if you go to the statistics, we had about 100 people voting against, or a little less than that, against this whole whatever was enacted. DMK stood with us, Congress stood with us, but you have to appreciate the background in which a high participated. That is why, if you remember that in parliamentary debate, they took offense to my remark that Shyama Prasad Mukherjee was a signatory to it. Don't sell it in his name. Don't tell people it was his dream.
Here the minister
had it been his dream, why didn't he oppose it? Had it been his dream, why did not he cast his vote against it? And he was part of the cabinet.
He was. But to that, the Home Minister of India said that decisions didn't go through.
But that does not change complexion of the matter. See, if somebody, it was Mr. Ghosh, only member, it was Mr. Tyagi who introduced an amendment to the draft 306. Only one. And he withdrew it. Did anyone, including Shyama Prasad Mukherjee, introduce an amendment, oppose it, vote against it? It was by consensus. His argument was that, look here, at that time cabinet would not go through it because उस वक्त वो नहीं कैबिनेट का ये नहीं है वो उनका मामला है वो कैसे कहें उस वक्त कैबिनेट का ये शेवा नहीं था. It was not, everything would not go through cabinet. I don't know, I disagree with that. But still, that does not change the complexion of the matter that it was with the consent of Patel, with the consent of because they did not oppose it. It is implicit, it is implied. Nobody stood up like Tyagi, like Hasad Mohani in 1952. He opposed that why should you give Jammu and Kashmir a special status. It was Hasad Mohani. He did not oppose it because he was against the special, but he said give same to Baroda. His line of argument was that, look here, one Raja joins you and you punish him, you don't give anything, and other Raja is reluctant to join you and you reward him. That was a different line of argument.
Now, since you have touched the Maharaja of J&K, so, because in the instrument of accession, we gave away the defense of the country,
defense, foreign affairs, and communication.
Do you think Maharaja Hari Singh would be a sad man today in the backdrop of the Chinese PLA taking away the state land?
Of course. See, you have to appreciate one thing. Maharaja was very reluctant very reluctant to join either because he entered into a standstill agreement with Pakistan and he requested for a standstill agreement to New Delhi as well. He said, give me some time, I don't want to decide right away. मुझे वक्त दीजिए मैं खुद अपना फैसला करूंगा. And he was toying with the idea of remaining, I mean staying independent with good relations with both, and he did communicate in that. And if you go to the letter, just try to analyze his letter of 26th October when he makes a request that I would, and he tells them that I want to X. You can see it is discernible from the letter that it is letter of a majboor, kind of a reluctant person. He says that because these are the reasons, these are the reasons that I am doing. So if you tell me, you say that would he
be a sad man?
Of course. And now again, what is sold in the rest of the country? I will tell you that a hype was created. 370 was sold at some. It was sold or it was marketed in a very bad image. It was as if they thought that as if 370 is is a reason for so many. The number of evils. It was marketed that way. Now 370 was there because of Maharaja. Conditions in accession letter of action were because of Maharaja. 1928 state subject was because of Maharaja. It was not Muslims have no role in it. It was Mr. Nanda in Jammu who spearheaded a campaign, a political campaign that we must have a state subject because Punjabis are coming and they are eating up our resources. Mr. Nanda, if I remember correctly, here is what Kashmiri politics who here did it. Because Muslim was not educated, he had no shame. If there were Punjabi Muslims, a few Punjabi Muslims who were at Khusraw and all the others who were at the helm of affairs, and one or two. Now it was Maharaja's idea. 1928 state subject law was Maharaja's law. So of course he would be offended, he would feel offended, and he would be cross with everyone.
Sir, politics to bahut ho gaya. Now an apolitical thought. I wanted to ask you this really. We Kashmiris binge a lot, we eat a lot, हम बहुत खाते हैं. हमारे यहाँ एक बहुत स्पेशल डिश बनती है. हम कवल की जड़ें खाते हैं, हम उसको नदरू कहते हैं. सर, नेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस को पसंद है, आपके लीडर्स को आपको पसंद है?
I don't know about leaders. As Kashmiri, whatever you like, whatever you love, I love it.
We all like to eat the roots of.
देखिए एक कश्मीरी की हैसियत से हम सब इकट्ठे हैं. और फॉर्चुनेटली बड़ा अच्छी बात है कि यहाँ पर उतनी डिस्पैरिटी नहीं है लीडरशिप के लाइफस्टाइल में, उठने बैठने में और आम लोगों की. मुमकिन है आपको दिल्ली का या महाराष्ट्र का चीफ मिनिस्टर या मध्य प्रदेश का चीफ मिनिस्टर उसका जिंदगी का लाइफस्टाइल, खाना पीना, बाकी वो बिल्कुल ऊपर का होगा, वो अरबों का मालिक होगा, कोई करोड़ों का मालिक होगा. लेकिन यहाँ पर फिर भी बाय एंड लार्ज ये तो आपको बिल्कुल आपकी साइड में है. वो आएंगे त्रानी में आपके साथ भी, फारूक साहब आपके साथ खाएंगे और आप भी मस्ट स्पॉट. हमने कहाँ छोड़ा उसका दामन, कहाँ छोड़ा अपने कल्चर का.
सर, मुस्लिम कॉन्फ्रेंस को आपने नेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस बना दिया.
जी.
फेलियर कहाँ आपने, एज आई अंडरस्टैंड इट, Muslim conference was named national conference because you wanted to seem secular, because we had Jammu also, so you wanted to include them also.
Okay.
So because Muslim gave them not so secular feeling. But why was Muslim National Conference not able to be a national party as of date? Why couldn't you expand to different states of India?
नहीं, देखिए एक तो ये कश्मीर, जम्मू कश्मीर स्पेसिफिक की तरह, दूसरा इसकी बदकिस्मती ये हुई 1953. अब आप देखिए, एक इलेक्टेड प्राइम मिनिस्टर को एक कांस्टेबल गिरफ्तार कर रहा है और उसके खिलाफ जो ऑर्डर है डिसमिसल का, उसमें लिखा है कि यू हैव लॉस्ट कॉन्फिडेंस ऑफ योर कैबिनेट, जो कि किसी कानून में कोई चीज है ही नहीं, ना आईन में है. यू मे लूज कॉन्फिडेंस ऑफ योर हाउस. कैबिनेट तो एट योर मर्सी. आप रिकमेंड करते हैं किसी का डिसमिसल, आप कहेंगे सारी कैबिनेट छोड़ दो, मैं नहीं बनाना चाहता हूँ. अब देखिए जम्मू कश्मीर में ही एक ऐसा वाक़ा हुआ इस बड़े जमहूरी मुल्क में, जिसमें एक इलेक्टेड प्राइम मिनिस्टर को एक कांस्टेबल ने हथकड़ी पहनाई, जबकि वो अभी प्राइम मिनिस्टर अपने हाउस का लूज नहीं किया था उन्होंने कॉन्फिडेंस, और उनको बगैर किसी ट्रायल के, बगैर कोई ट्रायल था ही नहीं. अगर कभी बाद में हुआ वो ट्रायल भी आपने खुद ही विड्रॉ किया. 16 साल तक पनपने ही नहीं दिया गया. कि ये सारा जो मामला है, ये सारा जो जम्मू कश्मीर को एक आगे जाने में जो रुकावटें पैदा की, ये तो सारी नई दिल्ली की और वहाँ की जो भी सरकार है वो सरकार। अब देखिए, आपने कस्में खाई, आप हमारी मिल्कियत नहीं है, हम कभी आपको मिल्कियत नहीं, आपने यूएन सिक्योरिटी काउंसिल में ये आपने कहा कि दे कैन वॉक इन, और उन गोपाल सुबाई एंगर ने कहा कि इवन दे कैन बिकम मेंबर ऑफ दिस यूएन। ये आपका ही बयान है ना। देखिए, जब वो डिफेंड कर रहे थे गोपाल स्वामी एंगर कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन असेंबली में, अब डिबेट्स कीजिए 370 का, तो उन्होंने अपना स्पेल आउट वहां पर किया, क्या रीजन है, व्हाई डू यू वांट टू गिव स्पेशल स्टेटस जम्मू कश्मीर। उसमें उन्होंने कहा कि हमारा मन है कि हम वहां पर लोगों से पूछें। और जब आपने कंप्लेंट, जो मैं पार्लियामेंट में भी कहा, जब आपने कंप्लेंट की यूएन सिक्योरिटी काउंसिल को 1 जनवरी 1948 में, उसमें आपने लिखा पैरा 6 में कि हमारा मन हमने बनाया है कि हम वहां के लोगों से पूछने जा रहे हैं।
ऑल इंडिया रेडियो पे भी बोला गया है,
रेडियो पर, पार्लियामेंट में, हाउस में, सब जगह आपने देखिए, आपने एक चीज को तकवीत दी और फिर जमहूरियत पनपने दी और फिर आपने इलेक्टेड प्राइम मिनिस्टर को। तो हम नेशनल पार्टी कहाँ से बनती? 20 साल तक हम करते रहे, 20 साल तक जनाब हम प्लेबिसिट फ्रंट ऑलमोस्ट 20 साल तक कहते रहे कि भाई आप यहाँ वाले के मुताबिक यहाँ पर। फिर पाकिस्तान जो पॉलिटी, इंडियन पॉलिटी है, ठीक है, हिंदुस्तान में बहुत सारे लोग हैं जो कश्मीर के साथ हमदर्दी है। कल की बात लीजिए, अमित कोश्यारी का स्टेटमेंट लीजिए, ये जो हमारे पहले देखिए क्या कमाल है। देखिए, ये जो डोमिसाइल है ना, ये डोमिसाइल हमारी डिसेंट्रलाइजेशन एक लॉ है, सर्विस लॉ, उसमें अमेंडमेंट करके कहा गया कि डोमिसाइल अब होगा एलिजिबल फॉर एम्प्लॉयमेंट, ठीक है ना। तो कौन जाएगा डोमिसाइल के लिए मांगने के लिए? वो जिसकी एम्प्लॉयमेंट नहीं है। वो ये जो हमारे हैं जो क्या नाम है,
जितेंद्र सिंह, फिर उन्होंने कल
नहीं हमारा ब्यूरोक्रेट जो
अमित कोश्यारी, अच्छा नवीन चौधरी,
नवीन जी के बेटे अगर जाए कि मेरे पिताजी यहाँ 10 साल से रहे हैं, मुझे दीजिए डोमिसाइल, वो तो अंडरस्टैंडेबल है। नवीन जी तो खुद एम्प्लॉय है, वो तो खुद ऑफिसर है, उनको क्या पड़ी है ये लेने की। आप देखिए, अनलेस यू वांट डाउन द लाइन टू यूज दिस डोमिसाइल फॉर अ नंबर ऑफ पर्पस एंड मेक इट एलिजिबिलिटी करेक्ट मेक द क्राइटेरिया ऑफ डोमिसाइल। अब ये देखिए क्या होगा। डोमिसाइल तो आपने किया, डिसेंट्रलाइजेशन जो है, जो सर्विस लॉ का एक हिस्सा है, उसमें अमेंडमेंट करने के लिए एलिजिबिलिटी डिसाइड करने। उनके बेटे करते तो ठीक है,
भी आईएएस छोड़ने का मन कर रहा हूँ। सर, एमओएस पीएमओ ने भी कल अपनी सर्टिफिकेट ले ली,
वो स्टेट सब्जेक्ट है ना
जी,
वो स्टेट सब्जेक्ट है। और उन्होंने जम्मू से स्टेट सब्जेक्ट की, उन्होंने ही कंप्लेन शुरू की थी। मिस्टर नंदा की जो थे,
उनको किस लिए अप्लाई करना था?
देखिए, उन्होंने कहा कि नहीं जी मैं डोमिसाइल बनूं, जस्ट आई मीन यू डोंट नो
पॉलिटिकल गिमिक।
और क्या होता है? देखिए, हमने पहले ही कहा भाई ये जो आप कर रहे हैं इससे कुछ हासिल नहीं,
शोमैनशिप है
नहीं, ये सारा मामला आप हमने ये नहीं, हम ये देखिए, हमारी जंग जो इस वक्त है ना, अगर आप इसे जंग का नाम देंगे या जो जिद्दत हमारी है, वो है टू अपहोल्ड सुपरमेसी ऑफ कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन ऑफ इंडिया। हम 125 करोड़ लोगों की जंग लड़ रहे हैं, संविधान की इज्जत, कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन की। अब क्योंकि हम कहते हैं कि जब आपने 370 को किया, जब आपने विभाजन किया, जब आपने यहाँ क्या नाम है जी डाउनग्रेड किया स्टेट को, आपने अपमान किया कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन, यू ट्रैम्पल्ड अपॉन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन, आपने रोंदा आईन को। तो हम इस वक्त इसमें मसरूफ हैं, हम उस आईन का जो इज्जत है वो बाहर करें
हिंदुस्तान की।
और क्या
सब
आपका आर्टिकल 3 कहता है कि आप वो आर्टिकल 3 का की कल्पना ही नहीं है कि आप किसी स्टेट को डिसमेंबर करेंगे, क्योंकि आर्टिकल 1 में लिखा है इंडिया इज यूनियन ऑफ स्टेट्स,
इंडिस्ट्रक्टेबल यूनियन ऑफ डिस्ट्रक्टेबल स्टेट्स।
नहीं है, हाँ आप अपग्रेड कर सकते हैं। और आर्टिकल 3 आपको कहता है, अगर आप कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन के साथ पढ़े, कि आप वहां के लोगों को पूछिए। बात यह है कि हमारी जो इस वक्त जुज्जत है, ये सारी जुज्जत है आईनी हिंद की का तकद्दुस सुपरमेसी बहाल करने की, क्योंकि हम समझते हैं वो पामार किया गया और उसका ये रिजल्ट हुआ कि हमें और जो हमें डिप्राइव किया गया, डिन्यूड किया गया।
So do you think the Chinese aggression has something to do with Kashmir ka abrogation? Because there's a narrative which says
हाँ देखिए
So legally, जितना the little knowledge I have never come across anything like जहाँ आप democracy में किसी से bond लिख के रख सकते हो, जबकि you have a fundamental right to expression, आप bond लिख सकते हैं. Is that a true thing? Because there are too many rounds doing it.
जी हाँ, नहीं इंसिस्ट किया और कहा गया कि आप बॉन्ड लिख के दे फिर आप बाहर आ सकते हो, किसी ने माना नहीं.
Okay, so all the aspirations, all the aspersions cast away. That is a fact. Bond.
नहीं कहा गया कि आप अगर ये करेंगे तो फिर आपको छोड़ देंगे, किसी ने माना नहीं, इसलिए लिखा ही नहीं. Nobody agreed. ये ना कि उन्होंने प्रयास नहीं किया, उन्होंने ये किया अगर आप बॉन्ड देंगे, लेकिन किसी ने माना नहीं बॉन्ड. वो तो नईम साहब ने भी कहा, मुझे कहा गया बॉन्ड.
Sir, political opportunism. The last question I wanted to ask you. Political opportunism. हमने politics में हर जगह देखा. Although we have the 10th schedule anti-defection का, but that hasn't stopped people from आयाराम गयाराम politics से, खेल-कूद politics से. Sir, the same has applied to the valley also. हमारे यहाँ से आपके political party में से NC से लोग opportunism देख के दूसरी पार्टियों में जंप किए हैं. Has it been कि उनकी आइडियोलॉजी मैच नहीं कर रही थी और कि opportunistic कुछ ज्यादा ही थे?
पहली बात ये देखिए, 5 अगस्त के बाद जो वर्स्ट टाइम्स आ गए ना, परेशानियां, कैद बंद, हर तरह का जुल्म सितम, मुझे कहिए एक भी एनसी से निकला. सो जस्ट पॉइंट आउट वन, जो वर्स्ट टाइम्स है ना, जब एक पार्टी से जाएगा हर एक कोशिश करेगा मैं चला जाऊं, क्योंकि ये अताब पर इस वक्त है, ये निशाने पर है ये पार्टी. मुझे एक और हम नहीं कर पाए, लेकिन जो कल्चर है अपॉर्चुनिटी का, ये इसको बढ़ावा किसने दिया? देखिए, अगर आप हिंदुस्तान की जो जमहूरी हिंदुस्तान की तारीख पढ़ेंगे पोस्ट 47, आप देखेंगे सबसे बड़ा जो ये मॉरलिटी की थी, मॉरल वैल्यूज की पॉलिटिक्स थी, जो ये सारी पॉलिटिक्स के पीछे थे यही जो आज सत्ता में जेबीपी जयप्रकाश नारायण भी उनके साथ है, मोरारजी भाई भी, आपको जनता पार्टी याद दीजिए, यही कांग्रेस के खिलाफ इल्जाम लगाते थे कि आपने जी यहाँ पर इसको बढ़ावा दिया. और सरप्राइजिंगली आप देखेंगे ये कहते हैं कांग्रेस मुक्त भारत. तो मुक्त का मतलब था कि आप हमारे साथ शामिल हो जाइए, वही कांग्रेस मुक्त हो गई. तो ऑल ऑफ अ सडन आफ्टर दे शिफ्ट्स, आई मीन सी बेंच, they take a different stand, they join them, all of a sudden they become the purest people. उन्होंने अभी आप देख रहे हैं मणिपुर में क्या हुआ, गोवा में क्या हुआ, मध्य प्रदेश में क्या हुआ, कहीं पर क्या हुआ, ये तो वो, लेकिन ये उनकी अपनी बात है. लेकिन जो जहाँ हमारी है, आप मेरे साथ एग्री करेंगे कि नेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस का जो है वो तो हम तो बिल्कुल एक, और हमारे लिए ज्यादा मुश्किल है. दिस इज एवरी रीजन, अनलेस यू आर कमिटेड, अनलेस आपका फर्मली रूटेड है टू लीव. हमने ये डोमसेल को वेलकम नहीं किया, हमने डोमसेल लॉ को वेलकम नहीं किया, हमने लोगों को झूठी मुबारकबादें नहीं दी, बस सब ठीक हो गया. हमने ये नहीं कहा कि वो अमेंड हो गया बस सब ठीक हो. नो, वी स्टिप्युलेट, भाई हमें कबूल नहीं है 5 अगस्त के ऐसे. भाई आपको डायलॉग करना होगा, इंटरनल एंड एक्सटर्नल डायलॉग. भाई आप यू कैन नॉट विश अवे, आप आंखें बंद करके नेक इन द सैंड जो आपका एक माइंडसेट है वो छोड़ दीजिए. सी द प्रॉब्लम, क्या हो रहा है आपके 10 लाख अगर है या 5 लाख है, जो भी नंबर है वो देखिए, वो भी हमारे लिए. देखिए, जहां पर जो भी मौत होती है, जो भी वायलेंस से जो भी मौत होगी, जो भी इंसानी जान का जो भी नुकसान होगा, उस सबके लिए दिल होता है. उनके भी बच्चे हैं, हर एक के बच्चे हैं, परिवार है. क्या कर रहे हैं आप, क्या हासिल करना है? सिर्फ ये कि हम एक फैसला करेंगे पॉलिटिकल और इसको सेल करेंगे, कहेंगे देखो जी हमारे जैसे कोई बहादुर है ही नहीं. तो क्या कहाँ पहुंचा है? जब आपको बहादुरी के लिए लोग कह रहे हैं तो उस वक्त आप कह रहे हैं कि हमारा कुछ गया ही नहीं.
We'll leave it to that, sir. People can judge for themselves. They heard you, sir. It was a pleasure speaking to you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
बहुत अच्छा.